No Kevin Molino, COVID-19 cases. Trinidad Tobago's coach Terry Fenwick announces his squad for the upcoming games against Bahamas and St. Kitts and Nevis. James and I will talk about this in one moment. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Extra Time TV. This is Andre Sooklal and I'm joined once again with James Baird, our man from Scotland. Today, James, we have some breaking news, although it's news spreads really fast in Trinidad Tobago. Terry Fenwick has announced his squad for the upcoming qualifiers against the Bahamas and St. Kitts and Nevis. And before we get into the actual discussion about the team, I'm just going to call out the team really quick. So the goalkeepers, which even this is interesting. Nicholas Frenderup will be playing. He will only be playing for one game, which we'll explain afterwards. Adrian Fonset of Police FC, Denzel Smith of W Connection, defenders Rodanfa Abu Bakr, who's a free agent, Robert Primus, Keston Julian. We just did an interview with him. He just celebrated his title with FC Sheriff and also has a game. So, check that out. Check out that interview. Defenders Shannon Gomez, Sheldon Bateau, Aubrey David, Justin Garcia, Jesse Williams, Nabil Hackshaw, Noah Powder, Luke Singh from Toronto FC. Some eyes have been on him recently. Dwayne Mockett, Mikael Poon Angeron, Andre Fortune, Daniel Phillips, Hashim Arcia, Judah Garcia, Kaleem Highland, Jovan Jones, Levi Garcia, Daniel Carr, Gary Griffith III, Ryan Telfer, Nickel Orr, new one, and Jamal Williams. So, James, that is the 28-man squad, I think, if my math is correct, that Terry has released. For those of you who don't know, the squad has 3 cases of that has been reported of having 3 cases, and it has reportedly been Marvin Phillip and 2 other players, I think, James. So there's a lot of mix and matches, and then also, which we'll talk about as well, James, the potential UK players have once again, for one reason or the other, have not made it. Innis, Bostock, and so on once again. So, James, let's start from the beginning. What is your initial reaction to this squad?
Some good, some bad. I think going into the first game, I think with 2 goalkeepers only, because we know obviously Nicholas. I think from what we hear, I think this is his partner was having a baby. I think so. He's missing the first game. I think that's the story. Obviously, Marvin Phillips dropped out. So to go to that first game against Bahamas with 2 goalkeepers and one be, I want to say, an untested goalkeeper kind of worries me a little bit, because it just takes somebody getting injured in a warm-up, this kind of thing, to cause issues. So that's one, obviously, issue I have. But I'm very happy to see Keston Julian in the squad. I think he's a player that's been overlooked. I think he's a very talented player, very good on the left. I think he will give us some options that we didn't necessarily have, especially attacking full-back options. So I'm happy with that one. I'm curious to see Nickel Orr. Don't know much about him. It's one that it's came to the scene that we see on the list. Good to see Williams back in. But I think in a whole, I think we just look a little bit light, in my opinion. That's all. I don't want to say too much negative things because we want the team to go and do well, but I just think we look a little light, in my opinion.
Yep, we've been talking about this since the beginning of the qualifiers, even before the qualifiers. It seems like, every possible thing that can happen will happen to Trinidad Tobago, and hopefully that stops here. I'm not going to bring any negative auras to the team, but, with the COVID-19 cases and the lack of availability of players, if I'm the coach, even if, you like Terry or not, that must be a massive headache. And then, I think for a long time, and he mentioned this in several media outlets, that, he's been trying to finalize some of the UK players for some time now. We've all heard about Bostock. It's almost seemed like Bostock is this fictitious story that, will never play for Trinidad Tobago. A lot of people were not surprised. He has in the past under Stephen Hart, he came to training sessions. I actually met him, and it seemed as if from the brief interaction we had that he was all in. And then it's always something strange when it comes to him. I don't know the details, but once again, we will not have John Bostock and also Innis, who's also the same surname of our cameraman Lawrence Innis, but his name is Innis, and I can't remember the third guy, James. But before we get into like tactics and the formation he's probably going to take, what do you think about the UK players and once again John Bostock, not being able to get their passports and other things in order to play for Trinidad and Tobago with the significant amount of time?
I think it's absolute madness because these players have been trying to play for Trinidad, as it seems, for years. I mean, I think for the last 5 years, from what I think. It's kind of like there's a movie about two smoking barrels. I think it's Bostock and two smoking guns because we're just not seeing it. I don't know. I mean, he wants to play from what I hear. I mean, I think he wanted to play since the days he was playing in France. Nevis back in England. I mean, obviously, I think Terry spoke to him from what I heard, but you can't understand why we can't use these guys in this as well. And then there's also Rory, who plays for Kilmarnock, I think, wanting to play for Trinidad also. And why are we not using these guys? We need options. These would be players that would bolster the squad. So, the guys behind the scenes need to get their finger out. I mean, it's bizarre, especially with the fact, obviously, that we have the Commissioner of Police doing so much good for the team. He's helping out with team training facilities. Can he not make a call to somebody and get, these guys' passports? Because at the end of the day, as long as they have the ancestry or the history, to play for Trinidad and Tobago, they should be able to play. So, in other countries, it would be done, virtually in an instant. And it was like that in the past year. So I don't understand why, unless there's a lot of things that we don't know, behind the scenes.
Yep. And, I've always made this statement before. I could probably be a bit more understanding if it was a last minute call and we only found out, okay, let's call John Bostock, a couple of days and these guys before the qualifier. These names have been around, especially John, for many years, since all the way back in 2016, even before that. And a lot of people, and this is why I guess EXTV is here, a lot of people usually carelessly point at the head coach. Whether you like him or not, that's a whole other discussion. That's irrelevant in this point. It's a football team has various staff that's responsible for certain things. And there are people who are supposed to be responsible for this. And it has been going on for a long time. This is nothing new, where it's always something with the flights. It's always something with the passports. I've worked with other professional teams that get these things done. So I've seen it done. So, some hard questions have to be asked. Unfortunately, sometimes, due to, just maybe lack of knowledge or irresponsible media, it automatically falls on if, Terry should have sorted this out. He's the coach. You have a manager and you have, the administrators, and then you have, your coaching staff, which is below Terry and, well, not below, but part of the staff. Everybody has a role and there are people who are responsible for this. And, if Terry has to now go and do this himself, he is now doing stuff way beyond what a coach should be doing. And that shouldn't be the case. He shouldn't have to worry about those things unless it's some ridiculous circumstance or the player doesn't want to play. And, the fact is, I know a lot of people are divisive about Gary Griffith because his son is on the team. But let's be honest, a lot of things would not have taken place if it wasn't for his help. I don't see a lot of people lining up to really help, to be honest. But, we move along. So to the players now, noticeable absentees. Kevin Molino, obviously he is injured. And also, why is his name slipping me right now? Andre Sooklal. Apparently, after all the controversy, he has been, they opted to leave him out. I'm guessing it may be a travel issue. I don't know. We don't really know. I'm guessing. But both of those guys are left out. So in addition to the COVID absentees, these two guys being missing, this is the squad we have left. Now, it as you said, there's a lot of players there that, it seemed as if we had to kind of patch things up. But how do you think this will affect the team, James, going forward at these games? Should it affect us? I mean, should it really be so drastic that we should be worried, or is it a problem?
I think, obviously, first of all, Terry has his way. He wants the team to play. So he's probably picked the players that he thinks are available. Obviously, the travel restrictions, they come into it. To me, there's players coming from the States, obviously, by the look of it, coming from some of the other, for example, I think Williams plays in one of those South American countries. I can't remember just now where he plays, but so they're coming from this side of the world. I think Griffith, if I'm not mistaken, was in Ireland. So to me, the fact he's come from Ireland means that he came from the UK. So it kind of begs the question why the other ones are not there. But I think the Boku one could be the fact that I think if I'm not mistaken, he was playing non-league in England now.
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of the non-league teams are not playing anymore, so fitness probably is an issue. Obviously, the issue that they had with him being an agent, does that come into it? Well, you never know. These things could come into it too. But I think we definitely lack that. I mean, I was looking at each position on the board and I was saying there's nobody else except Highland that plays in that kind of box-to-box, break-up player role. From what I see, I mean, obviously, Hashim Arcias came in. He's more attacking. You've got Fortune Phillips, obviously we saw, who came in from, I think, Watford. But to me, those look more like ball-playing midfielders, not necessarily that, holding player. So I think we do lack, if Highland gets a little knock, and I think he did have a knock, if I'm not mistaken, from the Guyana game. So I'm hoping he's fully recovered. So there could be issues depending on cover, because to me, we do look a little light, as I said.
Yep, we do. From the last game, Jovan Jones was, I think, carrying a niggling injury. His brother, Alvin Jones, had to step out at the last minute, and he still isn't here. But and I think even I think it was Sheldon Bateau looked like he had a little bit of a knock in the last game as well. So I think for us to really, to give us that confidence, having those guys in good shape would really help us, in the midfield, because in the Puerto Rico game, we really got pushed to the limits with fast, mobile players at their style of play. And, Nicholas Frenderup had a really good performance. And, just building on the goalkeepers now, because James is a goalkeeper, folks, in case you didn't know, you should know that by now. So James, speaking about goalkeepers, it's been reported, obviously, you spoke about this before, Nicholas will miss the first game against the Bahamas because his partner is having a baby. Now we have Adrian Fonset. And also we have this guy, Denzel Smith from W Connection. So, from a goalkeeping perspective, obviously, would they stick with Adrian Fonset, or would Nicholas step in for 2 games? And would switching the goalkeepers have an effect on the team?
But, I think Marvin Phillip would have probably played if he had been obviously there. Obviously now he's come down with COVID. Mm-hmm. Fonset's the experience there out of the 2 now. Being a goalkeeper, you need continuity. You need, confidence. I doubt very much that unless Terry sees a huge gulf, he's going to change a goalkeeper after he plays the first game, So, for example, if Fonset plays the first game and he does well, he's going to play the second game, And you have to plan that way because, obviously, Nicholas is going to come in, obviously, after the birth of his baby. Meet the squad, I'd imagine, and then they've been training already. They've played a game together, so it's not ideal. So it's up to Terry at the end of the day. He's the coach; he will make a decision. But being a goalkeeper, and especially the defensive side of things, you need that confidence. You need that, as I say, that continuity, and to chop and change game to game is not ideal. So I can't see us doing that. But again, this is football; anything goes.
Yep. And, a lot of people, and I'm going to say this to the fans outside who are looking right now, a lot of people want us to play Barcelona type football and perfect football. And, we should have picked this player and that player. But the reason why we're doing this is so people can understand how many obstacles this national team has to face before we even play a game. So, James, based on this squad, how do you think is Terry going to continue with his, 4-3-3? How do you think it's going to go?
I think, the fact that he's stuck with it in the last game, he's got the players there. As I say, minus probably a little lack of cover for Highland. I think he does have the players there to go with that formation again, so I think he will. And I think, I saw some footage of them training. They looked like, they want to go with that kind of that 3 forward line with the 3 midfielders behind them. So I think we will see him play the 4-3-3 again. And especially against Bahamas, I was looking at their squad, very much local based. So, we go with that. We press them. I think we will get a good result with that kind of formation. But the beauty of it is he could change it, for example, as I say, to my old favourite, a 4-2-3-1. Again, he does have the players there to do it. So he does have options.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about formations. If you speak to any coach, with James being one of them, formations are kind of like just guidelines in a lot of ways. It's kind of like a platform because somebody made an interesting point to me, which I kind of knew, but I hope I articulated really well. When you have formations, you have formations that change when you're in a defensive phase and when you're in the offensive phase. So the good thing about the 4-3-3 is I think, and I could be wrong, and you can tell me what you think, that Terry, the 4-3-3 could switch to that 4-2, 3-1 formation if you need to, and do some adjustments. But we have our video for the tactics, which will be coming up soon, where we'll do our pre-match previews with James, myself, also for the St. Kitts game. Since apparently I'm getting my countries wrong, we'll have Nathan Carr joining us to talk about that, and also we'll do a preview for the Bahamas game coming up as well. So folks, be sure to check that out. You all really supported the last videos last time, and let us know what you think about the squad. Do you agree with it? Do you think there are players that should have been there? And do you just let us know? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. So James, it's been a pleasure, and folks, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment in the comment section below, and also support the channel by checking out the link in the description below with the merchandise, which not only supports our channel but also goes towards homes that for kids that are in Trinidad and Tobago that are suffering right now because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So James, it's been a pleasure, and folks, thank you for joining us. Just a reminder, everyone, for more episodes with Shaka Hislop, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, interviews, and content.